Welcome, guys. In this chapter, we are going to see CSS units. So you can see we have a boilerplate code with some styles and some HTML content. And on the right side, we have a preview. In our previous chapter, CSS font, we have seen the demo of the CSS units like REM and then pixel. Here, we will see what are the different kind of CSS units available to us. Let's quickly go through them. The CSS unit are of two types. One is absolute and the second is relative. Here is a list of absolute CSS unit like cm for centimeter, mm for millimeters, in for inches, which is basically 2.5 for cm, px for pixels, pt for point. These units are fixed in nature and they will appear exactly as that size. For example, if we specify the font size as 1 centimeter, then the font of the text will appear exactly as the 1 centimeter in the screen. These units are not recommended for the use of the screen because the screen sizes vary so much. These are best used for the printed layout. We will mostly use pixel in our development. The next is the relative CSS unit. These units specify a length relative to the length of the another element. Also, they scale better between different rendering devices and hence best used for the responsive development. Some of the common relative units are EM, which is basically related to the font size of the element or parent element, REM, which is relative to the font size of the root element, percentage, which is relative to the parent element, VW, which is relative to the 1% of width of the viewport, and then lastly VH, which is relative to the 1% of the height of the viewport. A viewport is basically the browser window size. Now let's see some of these units in action. Let's update the size of H2. So if I do H2 and specify font size as to REM, then you can see the font size has increased to 2. We can also use 30 pixel, okay, and then it will be updated accordingly. Now suppose if we put the welcome section under the div and then let's try to specify its height. Let me give the class, okay, and as a welcome section and welcome section and give the height as 300 pixel, then you can see we have a height of this section. Let me give border, which we will see in our later section, border solid, okay, and then you can see we have a border as well. Now we can specify the height of the paragraph in percentage format like this, welcome section and then p, and height as suppose 50%, and to get it affect, let me give the border. You can see we have the paragraph height as 50% of the total height of the parent, which is our div. Similarly, for example, if we specify the welcome section font size, okay, font size as 30 pixel, okay, and now if we specify the font size of our paragraph as 1 em, which is relative to the size of the parent font size, then you can see our font has updated to the parent font size, which is 30 pixel. Let's try to understand more through our developer tool and inspect, and here if you see our paragraph font size, Let me check the computed as well. And here font size is 30 pixel, which is as we specified 1 rem, and font size is actually equal to the size of the parent, which is 30 pixel. Okay, you can see. And now if we specify the font size as 0.5 rem, then this font size is basically half of the font size of the parent. You can see font size is now 15 pixel, okay, which is basically the half of the parent. Suppose if we specify the font size as rem, then it basically means it is taking the relative value from root, which means the font size is taking relative from the root, that is html. Let me specify the font size as 30 pixel, okay, and then it basically updated all these things which were taking the relative size from the root. And here if you see 1 rem, and here the font size of this parent also updated as 30 pixel. And if the font size of the root is like different, which is suppose 20 pixel, then the font size of the paragraph will also be 20 pixel. You can see that. Okay, so I hope you understand that the rem and em values are relative to either parent or root. So that's all in this chapter. I hope you understand how to apply the CSS units like pixel, rem, em, and percentage. See you in the next chapter.